Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm here with our next set of panelists. This one is titled "Influencers of Iowa." We have some really great people here. We have Jacob Hall and Tony Robleski. We're just gonna be learning about them. They run some amazing social media pages and a lot of other great things that we'll be talking about here just in a bit. Jacob, why don't we start with you? Just introduce yourself. Tell me your whole story, how you got started, what you're doing, what you do, and I want to know everything there is to know about you.
Yeah, well, I don't think you really want to know everything, but I'll tell you what you need to know for the purposes of this meeting. First, thanks for the invitation. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for
Uh,
coming.
I got into journalism when I was 14 years old. Worked at a gas station all through high school, and I had the owner of a tabloid come in every weekend. We'd talk sports, and he owned a high school paper and a sports paper that covered the state of Iowa and said, I really need a high school kid that's willing to write for me. Would you be willing to do that? Well, if you can talk about sports, you can pretty much write about sports. So I said, yeah. And that basically started my path into journalism. And then as I got older, and I would have liked to have thought wiser, but most days when you're in politics, it's probably not the wisest thing to be in. But I cared a little bit more about the things that were going on that really impacted people's lives than I cared about who won the Class 2A Iowa High School boys basketball state
Mm.
championship. Like, I've already forgotten a lot of the years that I covered sports just because that stuff, while in the moment, a lot of fun, maybe not as consequential as what you would like to do with your life. So I just felt a calling to go into political journalism, help my friend Skylar Wheeler run for Iowa House in 2016. He was young, just out of college, moved here from Washington State. And I really learned that there is a deficit in the information people get on local politics, state, city, county, the stuff that actually matters. I think we get distracted by what goes on out in Washington, D.C., and that should actually have the least control over our lives. So I started the Iowa Standard just in an effort to inform people. And I went to the Capitol every day, live stream subcommittee, committee meetings. Prior to COVID, nobody else did that. The
Mm.
legislature only streamed its floor debates. And once a bill is on the floor, it's pretty much a done deal. That's just the recital at that point. So really just try to provide a service to Iowans that just educates them on what's going on at the state level politically, especially, and give them a place to basically communicate with each other and start groups and get active and just educate themselves on what's going on at the state level.
Mm. That's great. I guess kind of going deeper into that, what kind of opportunities? Because I know this is something that, I mean, it sounds like, it happened to you, another journalist giving you a place to go. Do you do anything like that, maybe for young people that are looking to get started in journalism?
Yeah, young people looking to get started in journalism, they're always welcome to submit pieces. I've had students from Iowa State that were willing to cover something at the Capitol when the legislative session wasn't going on because I live 3.5 hours away from Des Moines, and they're able to jaunt down there and get some experience. And really, I think in our world, I'll just be honest, like I lean to the right. I'm a Christian conservative. There's not a lot of people like that in journalism. So it gives an opportunity to people who want to do this job using a Christian conservative voice and not necessarily the AP style book or these other things that lean the other way and really just provide them that opportunity to get a start, get put their toe in the water and find out, is this something that they feel called to do? Is this something that they want to do? The business model itself is really just set up on people that are willing to advertise on it, as well as just grassroots people from across the state, the country that want this voice to exist in Iowa media.
That's great. That's great. So are you pretty involved then? Maybe in your local community, do you get a lot of what kind of submissions, I guess, do you get from young people looking to maybe tell a story? What kind of media do you usually prefer to cover?
So a lot of the stuff from young people obviously involves education. I
Mm.
just talked with a student today from a community college in Iowa who got docked points on their assignment because they included their opinion, but the question was literally, how would you explain to someone? And then it went on. That's an opinion question. You're literally asking for the opinion. But really, again, it's just providing a space for these kids to feel safe and talk about their experiences as conservatives, because there's not a lot of them on college campuses, and really kind of give them an opportunity to be comfortable and just get a fair shake in the world at the college campus. I mean, that's what comes from a lot of the young people, but it is actually super encouraging. I mean, after Charlie Kirk, what happened with him on September 10th, there were people from all across the state. There were vigils that popped up. The one I went to at the University of Iowa was absolutely incredible with the students who led that. And it actually gives you a lot of hope in the next generation, because they're very thoughtful, and they genuinely care about themselves, their country, and their neighbors as well.
Mm. Well, that's really great to hear. Obviously, I'm fairly young, and it's really honestly, it's nice to finally have somebody say like, "Hey, I see the work that you're doing, the passion that you have, and I'm glad that you're trying to pursue something maybe greater than yourselves." I mean, of course, there's good with the bad, but I've had a lot of people who are like, "Oh, your generation is just lazy, and all you do is this and that," and are there people? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there's also a lot of people. I've met so many amazing people. I mean, even younger than myself, who are they've started companies. They've founded startups. They're doing genuinely amazing things, developing software. And I'm of course just so lucky and blessed to be able to provide them opportunities of building their relationship, of maybe helping advance them to a level that might be difficult to do on your own, especially here in Iowa. I'd like to quickly move things over to Tony. Tony, I'd love for you to introduce yourself a little bit. We can learn some more, learn more about you. Yeah, you can hear me? Can you hear me, Tony? You there?
It's just you and me in here, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, I think his internet must have disconnected. Okay, that's fine. Do we want to try to get him back in here? Okay. Well, we'll try to get him back in here, but that's fine. We'll just keep chatting here then. I guess my
Yeah. I think what you said earlier, I think really needs to be accentuated for young people especially, but I think
mm,
it's all entrepreneurs at some extent. We all start with an idea, and usually that idea is your passion. And I remember growing up being told by somebody somewhere, find out what you would do with your life if you didn't get paid for it. I
mm,
literally did
I
that.
love
So they
that.
say there's a sucker born every minute. I guess I was the sucker that minute that I was born. But I do think that's important, because if you can't really do what you do with passion, I think you're just going to inevitably start to hate it. And if you hate your job, I mean, then you're not looking forward to waking up in the morning and doing that. So I just think it's important what you guys do, encourage entrepreneurship across the state of Iowa, and really tell people, go out and follow your dreams and see if you can't make it work.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate the kind words. I mean, thankfully, in fact, I was actually just saying this earlier on our previous panel. I almost wish more people had some meaner things to say. I mean, everyone has genuinely been like, "Oh, this is amazing. I love what you're doing." I'm like, I mean, I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not just crazy here. Some push back a little bit. If there's something, I'm a big boy. I can take it. I'm very open to criticism, and I'm a very big fan of it. I think it's something that's very glossed over, especially a lot of people my age. I'm not saying I'm, rough or mean or anything, but if I'm not doing something right, I want to be told differently. I want to, the truth exists. I want to try to do the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. Yeah, no, I love that. Tony, can you hear me? Awesome. We got
Yeah.
you back in here. Maybe you cut out a little bit. So yeah, I'd love to come to you and yeah, just introduce yourself. I don't know you that well yet. Please introduce yourself. Tell me everything, everything there is to know about you, who you are, how you got started, what you're doing, like your life story.
Well, first off, thank you again, James, Jeremiah, Anthony, and the entrepreneurs group here for the invitation. It was last minute, but we made it. And Jacob, to you, that's a tough business, man. Media. So I commend you for going into the cauldron and reporting and making it viable. So well done on that. Very entrepreneurial. The long story short, I've been in Iowa now full time for about a month. Waterloo is now my new home. I
Mm,
moved from Michigan. And I've had some good conversations with James and Jeremiah about the entrepreneurs of Iowa. I reached out in August, said, "Hey, how can we get involved? How can we give back? How can we promote what we do? And the long and short of it is I've been teaching a concept called mind capture for 21 plus years. 10th book comes out here next month, so we're very, very busy. And we're gonna be doing some live events, but really we're in a war of attention. And 21 years being unemployed, for everyone listening that are entrepreneurs, that means you have to go out and make your own paycheck. So
Mm.
there's been some really, really good years. There's been some strange years. There's been some really off years. But the whole goal is you keep failing forward, as John Maxwell would say in his great book, Failing Forward, same title. But really enjoy entrepreneurship. It's good to be here in Iowa. I've just got booked for a group in Iowa City for an event to speak in May. So
Oh,
we're
cool.
getting work here quickly. And as I was driving in before I set my laptop in today, coming out of Michigan, where I used to call home, I always noticed the sign here in Iowa. It says freedom to flourish. Why
Yeah.
not? So it's kind of like my new home. It's welcoming when I drive in and say, you know what? That's what we're going to do here. And it's very enjoyable. I found the business community to be very welcoming, even though I've really only been active about a month and a half here. But it's exciting times. And really, with mind capture, in this battle for attention is really how do you get customers? How do you get referrals? And more importantly, what I teach the last really couple books is the mindset. It's not easy, and that's why a lot of people don't attempt it, but I'm here to say, why not? It's one of those things that I've been a part of successful startups. I've had my own company now for 21 years. And a lot of it comes down to what is the market seeing of value? So if you can solve a problem for the marketplace and there's enough of a market that wants that, you have a chance to go at it. But I think the key thing is with social media, we've been on it since it started, Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok page the last 3 years, and I'm a Gen Xer. So being 53 years old, my kids were like, "You're on TikTok? Are you crazy?" But you have to do your best to stay up with the way to reach people.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting with Jacob, he was at the ground floor of doing, a lot of investigative and reporting before COVID. So he was an early adopter before everything got shut down. And I'll have to tell you this, you're seeing more and more people make the entrepreneurial leap across the country now the last few years. You've got AI, you've got new opportunities, you've got some situations with certain industries that are in a recession, and no one likes to talk about that, but it is happening. So you're seeing more people say, you know what, maybe I'll attempt that side hustle. Maybe there's a business that I can do part time, or you know what, if I can't find a job, I'll work 2 or 3 different jobs while I'm building my core business. But there's plenty of opportunities still. But here's the key thing I want to relate everybody. You got to hustle. It
Mm.
does not come to you. And me being in the personal development industry now for 21 plus years as a writer, speaker, and a teacher, you see a lot of stuff on social media that says, manifest it. It'll happen. It'll happen if you work.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
have to move to it. You can't manifest 100 clients. You got to pick up the phone and do email and get your ads retargeted and go out there and ask for referrals and network. So it's one of those things that having now 21 years, I know a lot, but I'm still learning. So when I found you guys, the entrepreneurs of Iowa, I was like, cool. Because I'll say this, particularly to our newer entrepreneurs, it is one of the loneliest jobs in the world
Yeah.
until you find a group of other like-minded people to mastermind, to share referrals, resources. You don't have to do it alone. And I will tell you, the first decade self-employed, I did way too much on my own. I should have been delegating, finding the right people to get on the team because it's a team effort.
Mhm.
All of us as influencers, that's why you'd asked me to be on the panel today. We're the lead, but there's a great team around us pushing us forward. It's not a solo journey. And that's another myth I wanted to spell about social media. See all these big, big influencers. There's a huge team behind these men and women. So it's not a solo effort. And quickest advice I can give anyone is find the right mentors, the right groups such as this, and be coachable. If I'm in a room of other successful entrepreneurs and CEOs or at my own event that I host, I bring in people smarter than me. And our team, we're in the back taking notes the entire time they're presenting because we don't know it all. And the marketplace is shifting so fast. So that's kind of a quick overview. Glad to be here in Iowa. If you'd have told me a year and a half ago I'd be in Waterloo, I'd have said you're crazy, but here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's
So thank you for the
yeah, no, thank you again for coming. I feel like that's how it usually goes. At least half the people I talk to personally who live in Iowa, it's like they end up in Iowa. That's what happened to me at least. Most of the time it's like family. That's kind of what happened to me. I was born in Colorado, moved to Florida, Kentucky, a couple other places, and then I just
Yep.
kind of ended up in Iowa and never quite managed to get out of here. I mean, I didn't like it at first, but it's really grown on me. Especially, I was talking about this earlier, is the people are nice. I mean, very few other
Yeah.
places in the world can you accidentally drive your car into like a snow ditch and have a random person not just, give you a lift home you can, probably trust. But I'm literally speaking from experience here. Like they
Yeah.
tow your car out of the ditch. That's what happened to me. I was like, wow, wait, you're gonna tow my car like in the middle of I don't know you. It's incredible. That's been my experience, at least with most people. But yeah, Tony, I'd love for you. I think you made a really great point there about these big influencers and how a lot of people don't understand that there is a massive team of people who are pouring resources, time, and capital into this image, this digital image, this digital brand, a personal brand. What more can you tell us in the audience about maybe what goes into having a team and then connecting that to, your personal brand? How important is that for maybe new and emerging entrepreneurs?
Well, that's a great question. Is that you're going to go through trial and error. So I've had many what I call in football false starts with people I brought
Mm.
on, and not that they were bad, but they didn't mesh with the culture. Maybe there was
They
growing
don't
pains
fit,
for
right?
me. Yeah, for me to let go of some of that and delegate properly. So I had to learn to become more of a manager again
Mm.
versus doing it all. That's what I said. The first 10 years, I was doing way too much. That's typically the entrepreneur challenge is letting go. But over time, you go, if you're going to scale and you want to systematize, you've got to bring a good team in. And most of my team's all US based, primarily here in the Midwest. And, back to your point, it's Midwest hospitality. I'm here with my partner, Sheila. She lives here in Waterloo, and Michigan's very similar, but it's that hospitality, and it's the hard work ethic. When I'm on the coast, when I'm speaking like in LA or down in Florida or different groups, they're like, "You Midwesterners, you're always upbeat and you work your tails off."
Yeah.
So we can represent me if I'm on the road or I'm doing an event. They can act on my behalf, and they get to be no more almost better than me behind the scenes with certain clients. So it's building a level of trust, knowing that if you empower them with their talents, they can take it to places you can't imagine. Something of note for everyone watching is Kelsey, sometimes I will pay her to disagree with me. I'm like, look,
Mm.
I liked these three designs, come up with three more. I'll say, you know what? Tell me why we shouldn't pursue this project. And she'll say, well, this, and this, or here's why we should. So I like critical debate. And it's not a negative, but when you're in the business a while, you get a lot of yes people around you. You're really, really good. That's great. You need to have really good constructive feedback. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in the world we're in now, where everyone gets really highly offended or triggered, especially online, you got to know when you're putting yourself out there on social media with your team, there will be some pushback. Typically, when you're making positive impact or you're making noise or getting mind capture, the haters will line up, and they're usually a few states away. They don't have the gumption to approach you or call you, but they'll want to rail on your social media. And I say, you know what? That's part of the price of success. Doesn't mean you want to attract that or you want to bait them in or give that a lot of the time and attention. And Jacob, you can relate. My goodness, in the media, it's like open season, but you really cannot not be on social media.
Mm.
But pick a lane or two, get the right team involved, and know that best form of market, I believe, is storytelling, successful stories. It's great to post memes. We do that with our audiences on our multiple pages. We like to share success stories of me in action or helping a client or the client saying, hey, here's what we experienced working with you, because that testimonial is 1,000 times more believable than me. They'll look at that and go, there's a track record here, this guy, if we dig him up, that he's done this before and other people say he's pretty good. That speaks volumes versus me beating on my chest saying, hey, hire me, hire me. Because no one believes me until they know if I can actually do what I tell them I say I can do. So I hope there's some nuggets in there. And again, got to put
Yeah.
yourself out there and get a little uncomfortable, because there's days I'll go live and it's live on Facebook. And I'm like, there's wind blowing, people walking by, and the show goes on. But as you get more repetitions, you get in the game, it does get easier. There's some few thoughts there per your question.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That was amazing. I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head there, especially, which this is a great, actually leads me into kind of my next topic here. I kind of want to pass this to Jacob. So both of you, obviously, you have some great followings on online, especially on Facebook. I mean, you have how many followers do you have on the Iowa Standard?
62,300 some.
62,000. Yeah, like wow, that's amazing. I mean, especially, in Iowa. I mean, and you as well, Tony. So my question here is we all know how important social media is. not just for your business, but even say you as a personal brand. Everyone is talking about it. The personal brand. How do I get more followers? How do I tell an amazing story? So, your experience, obviously, this is your thing. This is what you do. Is there anything that's kind of a 10 years in 10 minutes, condensing that you would be able to tell maybe to our audience here about what does it actually take? What does the work look like to grow? Does it actually take, 3, 5, 10 years to get to, say, the point you're at? Or is there something that maybe people are, especially new entrepreneurs, are just kind of overlooking?
Yeah, I think Tony made a good point earlier where he talked about stories, personal stories, like pictures, memes, all that stuff. They're cute. They'll get you reactions, congratulations. But like people want stuff. It's really weird because we would probably all agree social media is not real life, but
Yeah.
people go to social media for stuff from real life. Like even though it may not be real life, people still want real life stuff from social media.
Yeah.
I would say ultimately, no matter what you do, whether it's politics, whether it's motivational stuff, whether it's educational stuff, like just do it. Trust yourself. Be who you are. Don't try to be something you're not. Because I do think the one thing that people can't necessarily buy or fake is authenticity. And that will attract followers. That will attract people that just, even if they disagree with you, they're going to at least respect your opinion because they know you're coming from a place of reality, authenticity. Again, who you are in real life is who you present through your business or through your social media page. I just can't eh, undersell the importance too of not worrying about it. That like when I started, I was like so excited to get to 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and then eventually it's like I don't care about the number of followers. Am I doing what I'm called to do? Am I doing what I believe in? Am I doing what now the established base of followers expect of me? And as long as you're doing that, you just have to trust the process. And maybe that goes back to my sports reporting days where I would talk with coaches who would give you those stories, those cliche quotes of just trusting the process, putting in the work, but that is, like, so true. Just do what you know you're called to do and trust that the results will follow. If it's meant to be, it's gonna happen, and like Tony said, don't be afraid of a little bit of criticism. Like,
Mm.
iron sharpens iron. It's fine. Don't go into this as it was funny because Rob Sand, who's a Democrat running for governor here in Iowa, made a reel on Facebook today. And by the way, like if you're somebody looking for how to use social media as a politician, follow Rob Sand because he knocks it out of the park. But there was somebody who left a comment that says, "I'm not voting for you," and he responded to on video, "Really? I thought I was gonna get 100% of the vote." Like, you know you're not going to make everybody happy. It's
Yep. Yep.
totally
That's
fine.
funny.
It's totally okay. So that's what I would just encourage people to do is just figure out who you are, what it is you believe in, what it is you want to do, and then just focus on that every single day. Don't focus on the critics, don't focus on your fans. Just know who you are, do the hard work, be willing to put in the time and the effort, and everything else is going to follow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jacob, that was awesome.
Yeah, well, it is just and it's weird because like that's stuff we heard all our lives, right? Like there's nothing secretive about that. But it's just so obvious and we get distracted from outside influences of maybe like, oh, I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. Like just be yourself. You're going to be good enough. If you believe in yourself, other people will believe in you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. You want me to throw in some thoughts on this?
That's what I've been waiting for. Absolutely. You
All
look like you want
right.
to say
So
something. I'm like, yeah, yeah, take it away.
Jacob, good points. I was listening carefully, and I'll throw a couple of things into this conversation. Your question is, we have organic traffic. I don't buy likes or viewers. I've had companies approach me, and I'd rather have real likes and people into what we do across our various platforms. Now, as we scale and keep growing the company, there may be surges where people follow and like us. We have a new book coming out, and that could produce a whole new audience of likes and people that opt into our email list. Want to add to this, which is a little different, is offline and online marketing to promote yourself. During COVID, we got a huge reaction with our book launches because everyone was locked up,
Mm.
literally. But when the algorithms changed and the world opened, we saw our social media come way down, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. They kept changing the algorithms. They're moving more to Meta is, this is fact, to a paid model to get your posts in front of even your own audience.
Hmm.
So you've got to be careful if you're over relying on a platform such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They're great media. Not bashing them. You don't own them. They own your list.
Hmm.
And if they get mad, which we saw both Democrats and Republicans here, I'll throw a little bit of politics in. You can get shadow banned, blacklisted, you can get written off. You've got to be careful. My marketing advice as an ace at this is build your email list. Have a good direct mail list that you use. We use a lot of direct mail in tandem with social media to play off each other. And people go, no one looks at direct mail. Well, if it's done right, they look at our mail and they'll sometimes call us and go, what did you send us? So the fusion of old school, I'm a Gen Xer. I was the last age group that was raised before digital. My children, all in their 20s, are digital natives. They've been raised on this. They're used to having a phone pretty much.
Mm.
But Gen X, those are 48 to, 55, 60-ish. We were the last analog world where eye contact, a handshake, networking live at an event was how we were raised, and we migrated, sometimes reluctantly into the internet and now social media. But I'm just saying this: put yourself out there, listen to what the market's telling you. Because if you're making a huge error, you definitely want to modify, but you don't know until you fail forward or you try here in the wintertime. But the thought process is encouraging people, if you've had that dream, if you've had that inkling, that intuition, if some people call it the Holy Spirit, move on that thing or start to take a step and get a mentor or join a group like Entrepreneurs of Iowa and go network and say, what's this really like? And the biggest thing I see with a lot of businesses, they underestimate the difficulty of the marketing task, customer acquisition. And in certain industries, it looks easy on Facebook and Instagram with all the sponsored ads and all the influencers, their coaching program. However, they don't tell you it's 10 years of testing or hiring coaches on to build proof of concept, to build their funnels, like Russell Brunson would say. He was a huge, internet marketer.
Oh
He's
yeah.
very successful. So the old quote is, the comparison of joy is the thief of it. If you're trying to compare yourself constantly, I had that for the first 10 years. I wanted to be the next Brian Tracy, maybe the next Tony Robbins, and I've met those guys. I met Tony Robbins years ago. But I eventually had to get in my forties and go, you need to figure out who you are and start to be you, and everything changed. I was having more fun with my business. I attracted better people. I was writing better books, better teaching, better results, because I was not trying to be like all the other gurus in my industry. And it's tough. Some events, you guys, there's a speaking out, there's 100 people competing against me to get a 1 hour keynote. And I win those typically because my marketing is really, really good. There's stacks of testimonials, there's hundreds of gigs. They Google me, they go, you're not as famous, but you seem like you know what you're doing. So to me, it's always about marketing, marketing, marketing. Get this out of the way for everybody listening. And the veteran entrepreneurs are probably going to shake their head. You are in the sales game, whether you like it or not. You have to sell your idea, your vision, your product, your service, your joint venture, whatever you have. You've got to believe when no one else does. And if you get a first few sales going, you get the momentum, the energy will pick up and people will start to go, they're onto something. And here's another little aha. They're drawn to your energy. This is not woo
That's right.
woo, way out there cosmic stuff. It's a known fact. In the first 30 seconds, they're sizing you up. They're
Yep.
looking at you. Do I like you? Is something off here? Do I feel like I can relate to you? And that's why I want to take it back to the invitation, Entrepreneurs of Iowa. You have a great online forum here, community. You also have in person. And here's another thing I'm seeing from meeting planners across the country. People crave live events again.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
They can't wait. They're kind of, and not to sound contradictory here or paradoxical, run a Zoom call, okay, a webinar, which is brilliant. We can reach more people, one to many. However, the live events, when done right, because we host a couple live events every year at our company, people love it. They're craving
Mhm.
human connection. So here's my final point. In the age of digital, you have to customize to connect with people. It's not easy to do, but when it's done, people, they love it, they talk about it, and they refer. That's the key thing with your marketing. So a lot thrown in there, but to me, I don't have it all figured out, guys. Nobody does because they keep changing things, but you have to keep adapting and moving forward with it.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. In fact, I think you really hit the nail on the head there, especially about the so in person and digital. And not disagreeing with you at all, but to add to that is I'm a very just for context, I have a marketing background. I ran a full service marketing agency for about 4 years or so. So this is like this, or rather was my jam. I actually closed it to focus on Entrepreneurs of Iowa, which was a good thing. Don't tell Elijah I didn't like it. I'm not a big fan of marketing. I know it's necessary. I understand the
Yeah.
importance of it. I personally don't. It's not something I'm passionate about. What I'm
Yep.
passionate about is things like this, being able to talk to real people, have real conversations, increase my network, and the most importantly, giving other people, especially new and maybe young entrepreneurs, the opportunities that I wish that I had when I was their age. There are more people nowadays, especially young people, who they feel a sense of purpose. So I
Mhm.
know I talk to so many young people who they're above everything. They're craving purpose. They're
Yeah.
craving a dragon to slay, a princess to save. They need something to quote unquote risk their lives over. And whatever that may be for them, for better or for worse, there's one thing that you can't avoid, and that's the marketing. It's customer
Yeah.
acquisition,
Yeah.
social media, your brand. And that's something what I would always tell people on my marketing consultations is that it can be as complicated or as simple as you want. Obviously, it's very nuanced. It depends on what you're doing. There are things that objectively work better than others, right? And that's unavoidable. But the things that are translate across all industries, all verticals, all methods is one, your network. Obviously, I don't need to explain this to you guys, of course, but your network is your net worth. It's all about
Yep.
who you know and what you know, right? I'm kind of putting a twist on it here, and the main point I'm getting at is I'm a very firm believer in the omni-channel approach. That's why when we do say like here we have like a hybrid, live and or a live webinar where we have some comings, some virtual, which is amazing. It's been going so well so far today. But then also having live in-person networking events that we're hosting all across the state of Iowa. And I'm biased, of course, but I love more than anything to be able to give people the opportunity, especially new entrepreneurs, to get them in the same room as the successful ones, the seasoned ones, the people where just one meeting, one phone call, one introduction can completely change your life. And I know because it's happened to me and I've seen it happen. I've been, again, lucky enough to be able to be a facilitator to make that happen for other people. It's quite a thing, and it's not easy. And Jacob, about what you were saying earlier is it's all about consistency, right?
Mhm.
And it may not happen today or tomorrow or the day after, but I and I'm sure both of you will agree with me on this. It's not the people who do something very well one time who succeed. It is the people who show up every day even when it doesn't go well, even when the post flops or you mess up live and you embarrass yourself, even when things go bad and you maybe look dumb 100 times in a row and you keep going. You figure it out and you show up. And then eventually one day you look back at where you were and then you realize, wow, I've come so far from where I once was.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of people, I feel personally, I'll wrap up with this, really, really gloss over, is they say, I need to get to the next step. I need to get to the next step when you're in that middle stage where, you're successful, you're generating revenue, you have maybe a great client base and maybe a great social media following. And then you're always looking at what next. And it's like, oh, I'm not enough. And maybe you're not enough for where you're trying to go, but you've also come very far. You've come very far, right? And I love what you're talking about here. Bring it back again quickly to Tony. Tell us about this book you're coming out with. This
Well,
is your
thank
chance
you.
to sell it to us. Come on,
All
let's hear
right,
about it.
shameless. The book is going to press right now, so there's a cardboard version of it. That's the two
Oh,
page
that's
with the
nice.
front and back. Thank you, but it's called "Don't Quit, Do It," and
Mm,
it's basically looking back at the last 20 years as a writer and a speaker. And there's a lot of humble pie in there. I put it all out there, and Jacob, you're in the media. They're going to dig, so we're going to preempt and say, hey, what? I've screwed up a lot, and not that I'm still there. That was who I used to be, but through those adversities, so many good things happen. Not because you set out to always do it, But the book, I had people, the advanced reviews, like, man, this is gonna take a different spot. Like, you're putting it out there. The stories are compelling. A lot of failures that's led to a lot of good success. And the challenge when you have kids growing up and you're on the road half the year, you give up things for them. So the title is very timely, I believe, going into the new year.
Mm,
You mentioned something earlier about people being down or find their purpose.
yeah.
It's confusing out there right now. And there's so much change. We're hearing AI is the savior, but AI is killing all the jobs off. We're hearing that it's tough for small business, but yet big companies are laying off. So you have to get around the right people and the right mentors and take action in accordance to move forward because it's confusing. The other thing I talk a lot in the book is the attention problem. We're down to 8 seconds, guys. On average, Microsoft data last year research is 8-second attention spans.
Wow.
That's why you're seeing short reels on Instagram, TikTok, etc., because the attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. Then you've got in the age of search, you go look and you find thousands of options. Where do you start? So as a consumer, it's finding your sweet spot. It's getting to understand human nature and knowing that you're going to take some logical risk and sometimes you're going to fail. Many of the most successful entrepreneurs that are household names failed and failed for years or had multiple bankruptcies.
Yeah.
It's no, I'll give you one right now, Walt Disney. Okay. Him and his brother Roy failed many times, multiple bankruptcies, and now he's a household name.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to set out to do that. That's why you have mentors and books and you have people around you or coaches that can help you because they shorten the process. One of my mentors, Jim Rohn, who also coached Tony Robbins before he passed, would say, no one can do your push-ups for you. Yeah,
Mm,
you can learn a funnel, you can learn how to post, but you actually got to do it. And until people get that rejection out of their system, they don't make it, they don't take any action. Guys, I get tons of no's every day. No, we went with somebody else, we went with the governor, we went with a celebrity, we don't have the budget. And I keep emailing, we keep sending out information, we keep posting. And I bet, this is funny, out of 50 referrals we get, maybe 5 convert in the first year. But what do we have to do? We have to follow up, follow up,
yep.
follow up. Cool. Driving up here today before I got to Waterloo to get on this call, the webinar, I got an email confirmation from Iowa City. It's a past client. They hired me to speak in May in Iowa City. Last time I spoke with them was 2009 in Savannah, Georgia at their conference.
Oh, wow.
So be 17 years later in May when I'm in Iowa City this spring, speaking in front of them again. That is not an accident. I followed up. I've sent them books. They follow me on social media, but I don't want to wait 17 years in between gigs, just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
But you can't have more of a better timely example as we're here in Iowa today to get hired from a client that hired me 17 years ago because I stayed in touch.
Mm.
I didn't stalk them, but I kept staying in touch with updates, books. They follow me. They found out I was moving here. I said, "Hey, you had your event literally across town from where I'm moving." That was another reason to re-engage them and get the conversation started again. So to me, I do my best. I am not perfect to live what I'm teaching, to learn from the mistakes. So the new book is loaded with all sorts of funny stuff. Some of it's very comedic now because comedy, guys, is tragedy plus time. And you can start to laugh about it. I'm a former addict. I've been bankrupt. And people go, man, you're kind of an idiot. Well, how have you rebounded from this? So on the other side of the book is what have I learned from that to keep pushing forward? It hasn't been easy. I'm grateful for it. I wouldn't trade a thing. Certain years in business, I was like, why am I doing this? I can go get a job with half my clients. I'm like, don't quit on that dream. On the other side of it, you'll have more autonomy, you'll have more freedom. I'm creating now at a very high level where we self-publish. I have New York people that approach, but we have creative control to write the things and speak about things we really want to now.
Mm.
And with what the market will pay for. Definitely don't want to leave that out. You have to have an audience that has a need and a want and will pay you for
Yeah.
it. That's a quick plug. Thank you for letting me share.
No, no, that was amazing. And I agree with you, especially on that last point. If you don't have a market, you don't really have a business, right? So yeah, just really quick, some closing thoughts because we're almost out of time here. I'll pass this to Jacob here quick. So obviously you're a craftsman. You know your craft. You're good at what you do. What is something, in your personal opinion, something you love that you would be willing to share that you only realized about what you do after doing it for 10 years, 20 years? What's the secret? What's the secret to success in journalism, in news, in reporting, in sharing information to the masses? What's one thing that you could quickly say just to the audience that might really really resonate with some people who are maybe thinking about going down that path somehow.
Yeah, I think it's just key, and Tony has said it so many times, is failing forward and understanding that you're going to get stuff wrong or be wrong from time to time. The question is, how do you respond? I just
Mhm.
looked it up. Peyton Manning, when he was a rookie, threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns. He ended up being okay. So again, like, just figure it out and know that it's not a linear path to success. Like, you're
Yeah.
going to hit places where you come down, hit places where you come up. Tony made great points. Diversify. Don't be afraid to fail. And I would just say, in terms of journalism, like, just be ready to write it out because it's not easy. Don't go into whatever it is you think you're going to do thinking it's going to be easy, because it isn't. But that's good, because anything that's easy to build will be easy to fall. So
Mm.
be willing to put the work in and don't expect it to come quick, because again, if it can be built quick, it can be taken down quick. Just know you want to build your business, build your house, build these things on a solid foundation, not sand.
Yeah.
Because the quicker and the easier it is to build, the quicker and the easier it'll be for it all to fall down to.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think you're totally right there. Tony, I'll pose the same question to you.
Yeah. Don't mail it in. I do a lot of speaking and training live and virtual like this, is you never know who's watching.
Mm.
So people that are watching right now, thank you for the gifts of your time and attention. That's been my whole argument,
Yeah,
is getting
truly.
people to pay attention and give you time is the hardest thing, because everyone's distracted. I got to make sure I don't look at my phone on this. So I
Yeah,
struggle
yeah,
with it.
right?
But, I look at it and say, don't mail it in. You never know who's watching. I've had some events where there's 20 people, and, if I had to be like, oh, it's a smaller group, and I prejudge that, that's not fair to the client or the
Mm.
audience. So never mail it in, and get really, really good at your craft. They call it the 10,000-hour rule.
Yep.
Malcolm Gladwell made it famous in his book, Blank. But, I probably got 30,000 hours in speaking and writing, and I'm still growing. I feel like a rookie in training camp. Back to the sports analogy, we got to hustle. There's hundreds of books put out every day, if not thousands. So we have to approach it like, with joy, with a lot of fun, enthusiasm. Because if I'm like, hey guys, I got a new book coming out and I kind of hope you buy it, it's pretty good. You'd be like, who booked this guy? You've got to believe when no one else does, and you get really, really good. The thing I hear as often is like, man, you make it really easy up there. Well, there's been thousands and thousands of
Mm.
hours and over 1,000 paid presentations, 10 years of Toastmasters. I hire coaches still to coach me on my performances, because to me, I'm edutaining them, you guys. When you go to a keynote from 1,000 people, you're there to not only educate, but you're there to entertain them,
Mm.
because you got 1,000 people watching you for 1 hour. It's like being a musician with no band behind you. And I
Yeah.
still do one of the top 5 human fears. I go into the firing line in front of groups I don't know, and they pay me for my opinions. So America, what a great country. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, no kidding.
So, and if someone might be messaging, do you get nervous? Yes. I still have those butterflies. And if they ever go away, time to hang it up. I'm done. I hope it never doesn't stop going away. But it's one of those things, is how do you channel your energy to get really, really good at your craft, where you hit a point of mastery where people are like, man, and I've had those moments of doubt. It's like I said at the beginning, an entrepreneur can be the loneliest job in the world,
Yeah.
because your employees have no idea that many times you get paid last. I've been there. It's called
Oh
Sunday
yeah.
night insomnia. And you got to pay everybody, and you're hoping checks don't clear. That's the wisdom of being in business a long time. You know what? That's part of the fire of becoming forged into steel, is learning these strange moments that aren't sexy on social media. They don't show Sunday night entrepreneur going, oh my God, how are we going to pay all these bills? That's not sexy on most social media. It's usually the highlight reel. Back to Jacob's point. So again, get really, really good at your craft. And I say,
Hmm.
approach it like a rookie. What can I learn each day? I wake up and go, it's first and 10, fresh for
Yeah.
many, many years before you ever show up on a panel like this or get on like a Joe Rogan or a Mel Robbins. You got to be out there doing it for a sustained period of
Well,
time.
people also say that you're crazy and the whole time. So yeah, I
There's a
totally
great
resonate.
song by Waylon Jennings that my girlfriend turned me on to. It's I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. I
Mm.
heard that this summer. I'm like, that's my story as an
I like that.
entrepreneur. Because people think you're nuts. Be like, well, maybe they're crazy, but I have to do this because it's my calling. And back to your point, your passion. When you find it, look out. Because if you can keep that going, people will move out of the way and people will see you because you're so lit up about what you found as your calling.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And another big thank you to both of you, Tony, Jacob. Seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
making the time here. I really think our audience has gotten some value from this. Thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom because it is valuable. So yeah, we'll kind of wrap things up here. Thank you guys again. We're going to be having another panel very soon. It's a very, very special one. I look forward to it, as I'm sure everyone else will. We'll see you all shortly.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you guys. Bye.
See you guys. Bye bye.